triple 80 carry ban on the side of JDG, and just a side note, Virus is going to match that as well. Also, the Smolder makes 5, and it's a first pick Rakan for Kael, and he was playing this a lot in the last series. I think he has played this a lot in general, so it makes sense that a comfort here starts AL on the draft.
Yeah, and now we've been seeing a lot more of this lately, right? The Ahri's really risen the ranks in terms of prio and making its way up to first rotation on red side. I wonder if you could go with something like a Vi pairing now, but it wouldn't make any sense when the enemy's not showing immobile mobile soul laners that you'd want to use it on, right? So it seems like gonna stave off on the natural mid jungle pairing, just get their hands on the AD carry, deny the lovers duo for hope.
Also makes sense to deny the Xayah Rakan, because on the other side for JDG, you might think, oh, they're going to pick it because it's also missing Sham. That's the one thing I forgot to mention. They're missing Rakan 6-0 yet again. It feels like this guy is just a Rakan OTP, but that's not true, of course, because he's got 10, 11 other champions to pair with it. Yeah. But on the other side, what draft flows through, Kai'Sa locked in quite early here. In 14-4, 14-5 internationally, Kai'Sa's kind of been like this B or C, maybe last resort, especially with things like Twisted Fate still up and available. Still things like Zeri that have been seen more as well, but Hope's going to try and play and set up the dive here as Renekton and Zeta match.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised to see it come out in response, but it is going to give him at least a bit more mobility. And I mean, theoretically, he's going to be dodging out on people like the Ahri and Renekton, jumping into the backline, right, and just trying to find access to Ruler. And I like these bans coming out so far from JDG, taking away something like the Orianna when there's already so much set up between K'Sante, Rakan, and if any shenanigans led Kai'Sa to the backline, you can even throw, the ball on her and find a massive shockwave. Yeah. So taking away some of Shanks' picks when Shanks has been that best player on AL, I think makes a ton of sense.
It's a shame Kael's not in the meta. I remember the classic IG, and just because Martha's here, I feel like I'm reflecting on the, remember the Kael Kai'Sa comps, where Kai'Sa would just dive in, be invulnerable for 2 seconds, everyone's dead by the time she comes out and can take damage. Like, it's a shame we've walked away from that.
I know. It's been a while since we've seen any Kael, but who knows? If Flandre was here, there could always be a chance, but sadly Flandre isn't here. But now for AL's JDG's second ban, I wonder if they care about something like a Taliyah here. No. So going with the Hui, I think Taliyah might be something we see AL lean on in that next phase of picks. Another champion that can maybe join that Kai'Sa, section people off, and help you create picks.
So just left open. That means Yagao can, pull this up on 4 if they want. Leave counter for what support. Does Missing really care about that? Yeah, I guess the option is, excuse me, I have to correct myself. We've already got the Ahri. It's early. It is so, I don't know how you guys do it. It is so early. I'm like, dude, Yagao's Taliyah would look good here with a first pick Ahri. Absolutely. Maybe we just get Kanavi on 4 here. Or maybe we get the support on 4 for counter pick. What are you thinking? You got to help her here. You got to help.
Still things like, I was going to say, the Lee Sin left open, right? I think would be the obvious one, having that Ahri because of the mid-jungle 2v2. And no worries. The brain fog is one of the staples of being back on the LPL, So we're going to see now, again, things like the Taliyah left open. Tristana crossed my mind if they wanted to go for another prio mid. She also does have a bit of semblance to be able to jump in and join in on the action. But AL's comp is kind of going a little bit of both ways, right? They have a bunch of champions who can jump in, but at the same time as Tristana, you don't ideally want to do that. So hope this game, Shanks' game, might be having to peel and figure out things for himself, to where JDG looking pretty standard. Gonna have solid team fighting. The skirmishing especially, of course, is great when you have Renekton, Lee Sin, and Ahri topside. And I think that's the half of the map that we're really going to be focusing on for JDG.
I feel like for JDG as well, it kind of fits into the wheelhouse of mid-game focus, right? Like there are a lot of tools to use as we start getting towards those skirmishes, those mid-game team fights. On the other side as well, I'm just going to mention with AL, like at least this time they've got engaged. If we reflect back to the RNG series, Game 2, the Karma Kindred comp, they just had 0 engaged tools. I'm not even sure. Game 3 was like similar, but still, there were a couple more, but it was still lacking. And I feel like for AL, at least this time, there's clear engage, right? Like, as you said, it becomes versatile with what they want to do, but at least the tools are there so that this time they don't just have to play a kite back comp with absolutely no priority and just, let Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah, and I mean, luckily, right, their comp can do a bunch of things well. Like, there is the opportunity to find picks with the Kai'Sa, with the Maokai. Even though Kai'Sa, not great at, like, burning Barons or things like that, you have a Tristana right alongside her, so it's still going to be double AD carry. So if JDG ever make a mistake, AL's comp will be very fast at taking objectives.
Well, as we get into game number 1, let's find out how fast they can set the tone of this game, because as we roll into this, I have one thing to say, and that is that AL in Game 1 versus RNG impressed me. But as the series went on, that disappointment came like a father who just didn't know what their son was doing. Now, I might not be AL's dad, but like a step-parent, I was just still disappointed all the same. Let's see if they can remedy that against JDG. A must-win for them to get into playoffs. Every win for them is a must-win, as JDG already secured, but it's the top 2 battle that they always play for. That is continuing to be on the line here, as AL are a lot stronger than last split. So, but JDG, do not underestimate.
I actually have a question for you. Is it,
Please.
So what was the difference from you being AL's dad versus being their stepdad or stepmom? Because
I'm a little bit more removed, you know, like there's no inherent, like, I've only been in the family for about a month. I just came in and I'm just like, you know, hey guys, like, you know, pleasure to be here, but like, I'm not sure if I'm staying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like,
okay, but so is your approach to, you know, you're the new guy in the house, are you spoiling them, or are you like keeping your distance and letting your significant other like introduce you slowly to AL?
I'm distancing until I get the vibe of what they're about, you know? Like, even though that's a very selfish thing, I feel like when there's 17 children, you've got to be a bit selfish.
You don't sound like a good parent. Just gotta throw that out there.
There's 17 of them. There's 17 of them. Like, others, like IG, it's like, bro, I'm taking them to Disneyland. I'm getting them the full-time pass. Like, they can get whatever they want from me. AL, like, I'm not even telling them I have money. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
they're gonna have to wait.
Maybe that's why AL right now are a 3-series loss streak and losing to teams like RA's, that lack of attention.
Yeah, well, look, I'll be quite honest. When they lost to RA, both of those kids were in the corner after that. That was disappointing for me. But for AL, look, they've got time to set things right here. They've got time to earn themselves maybe a guest spot to Disneyland if they can keep it up. Because AL, they've only been in playoffs one split. I think you and I, as I know we're kind of zooming out a bit, you and I were actually on that split together. Surely they made playoffs together. No, they didn't.
No,
AL's never made playoffs.
No, Rogue Warriors came close once. They lost due to game difference. I think it was 2020 summer, and that is the closest AL slash. Well, I guess not Rogue Warriors, because obviously Rogue Warriors earlier iterations.
Rogue Warriors 2018. 2018 almost went to Worlds. You know?
I guess that was the start of what then became the foundation for AL, right? Those like later Rogue Warriors rosters. Yeah, that was the closest that had ever come.
Yeah, so look, again, it's like the Ultra Prime story all again. We're just getting down on AL, but they got a chance to set things straight, make history. We haven't talked about the game state a little bit, but the 2v2 naturally with Kai'Sa Rakan. Looks like they got level 2 first, got the push in, and are now setting up the potential of Croco, but note that Kanavi is down here as well, shadowing this jungle path. And he's in a pretty good place at the right time, as Kael doesn't actually get the spot until he moves out himself. Gleaming Quill, Kanavi level 4, he's out of there. But Missing is thinking about it Engage. I'm not sure how this 3v3 goes.
Yeah, I assume they would have, right, when Kael ran away, because, you know, he didn't have Q or W. That could have been the moment to strike.
Good bop back. That was a Bramble Smash from Croco. The Ignite's already been popped down, the full engage. AL get the Missing Flash, and Croco now taking the damage as Kanavi matches as well. Kael has to get out of there himself. That's Flash for Croco, Flash for Kael, and Shanks coming down, JDG back away. Looks like the Summoner trade is pretty even, actually better for AL with Hope's Flash still intact.
I'm a bit surprised that JDG opted into going for it again when you could have gone in right when the Rakan had run away. It means you wouldn't have the knock-up to be able to lock down your AD carrier or Kanavi. But good for AL is Shanks. Maybe this is not good for AL, having to blow Flash. And this is good from Yagao, because Yagao has had a lot of silly moments so far this split. I know a lot of people could probably still remember the Azir shenanigans in top lane. I know he had another one the other day too, where he pretty much ran it down for no reason. But it's been weird, right? A split where Yagao isn't one of the consistent pieces for JDG. So seeing him come in, seeing him do well in lane is refreshing.
But I mean, again, we were talking about JDG and like how they are. I guess we can pause on that because there's a quick touchdown on what happened bot side, which was just a lot of balls running into each other.
Yeah, Missing tries to go in, but the Bramble Smash completely denies the play from finding any value. Missing does get out of there, which gives time for Ruler to get the return trade onto Croco. And wow, what a beautiful flash from Kael
really
to make sure that he doesn't go down.
Saving the life of the jungler. Felt like it could have been a disaster with Kanavi. Trying to take an early lead on this Lee Sin. He's going to get all 3 grubs in the meanwhile, though, as while bot is consistently pushed in for AL, JDG splitting the map right now, trying to set up a top side. No camps to take that are available, but you can see pings going down. Croco understands Kanavi's up here with a good control ward. So Shanks should know Lyric. Shanks should pay respect here and be like, should I be here? Charm not connecting this time, and luckily he's out.
It's okay. Shanks is a procrastinator, like many of us are, and that's how you do some of your best work in life. Shanks got out of there for free. Now he gets a dragon. So if anything, biggest brain play we've seen yet.
True. That's the only way I get work done. But I'm such a procrastinator. Sometimes I forget the meaning of the word. I forget I'm doing it. I forget the meaning of the word. I didn't realize till afterwards. I'm like, how did I get that done?
It feels like it's the only acceptable approach to doing anything. And I feel like that's why so far, I was going to say AL have a gold lead, but AL don't. But that's why AL have a dragon. You know what's more important?
Yeah, true.
Cash money or legendary mythical creatures?
A dragon that's not going to be a Chemtech Soul. Definitely the dragon. You know, I was talking about this, and I think everyone said it. Grubs still feel like, unless you are playing like a Camille top, a Fiora top, I'm trying to think of any split pushes in the game, right? People that take turrets fast. Like, Renekton's okay. But you're not going to get 6 grubs and be like, man, the game is done. You get 4 dragons, you still say the game is done. I think we know what lane is more important as dragon stacking still reigns supreme.
You know, I was actually a big grub denier, naysayer at the start of the split. But the longer the split has gone on, and I feel like the better I've seen teams play with grubs, the more I like when, especially, I mean, if you're a lot of these teams in LPL that's picking these like hard-winning early game compositions, and you get 6 grubs, you get an early Baron, like you are taking the Nexus in one push. It is obscene.
Very true. And I guess as well, with the pushing power aside, I mean, the EXP it gets for junglers too.
Yeah.
On that first wave is huge. This could be a kill. Flash away from Sheer. Hery, if he gets a knockback here, that all out will probably save and give first blood. But nice little engage here from Hery on this Cassante, while Kanavi was actually trying to set up in this top side. Now vertical jungling as Lyric, you got to set me up. Do you have time?
I mean, the ult's coming out. I'm not setting you up. The play's happening.
You know, setting up is Kael onto Ruler. First blood given over. Missing now. Taking out the turret with no ulti himself. Yagao trying to save the play, but it's another kill going over. Shanks picks it up, and Yagao can't finish the job. Gets a reset. Has to flash away. Almost dies his second skin. Killer instinct from Hope. Not over ambitious, because Shanks is also here. Sniped out as well. There's 3 kills instantly as AL now surviving top side. Hery up there will drop down, but remember that JDG lost 3 people to bot with a 2-0 Kai'Sa.
And that's the thing, right? 2-0 Kai'Sa, 1-0 and 1 Tristana. The big carries for AL are the ones who profited off that play. It's like, sure, Kanavi getting a kill top is nice. Obviously, a ton of plates just got given over to Sheer. But, I mean, there it is. Static Shiv already finished for Hope off the back of that play. And we're going to see it here. Ultimate comes out for Croco. I mean, just nothing Ruler can do in that situation with the fact that he's still not level 6. And then Missing soon to follow. I thought Croco was going to live here after the heal from his passive came out. But sadly, not having enough burst to finish off Yagao. But he still does go down in the end.
Nice ulti from Hope. I mean, nice transition of play from Hope. As you said, Static Shiv off the back end of this play. I guess we look at the top side because there had to be a response dive. Otherwise, for JDG, it just felt doomed.
Yeah, and I feel like every winning Cassante trade like this just comes out from Renekton or whatever lane opponent Udyr stepping too far forward and giving the opportunity for the trade. But worked out in favor with Kanavi making his way up. Doesn't hit the Q, but it is a good thing that he was taking the turret. I thought they might have misjudged who took aggro first. Luckily they didn't, so Sheer does stay alive.
Yeah, if Sheer died then, I think absolute disaster It is absolute cinema, though, for Hope so far. We already mentioned that first item, got a bounty on his head. Remember that Shanks picked up one as well. I think in this lane, he was down 510 CS. It seems to have changed, especially with both Shanks and Yagao moving to the bot side, remembering that Yagao died very late into the play. So feels really good. As Kanavi continues to invade, then there's like, no. Bot is here. Gets out. He's thinking about going back in because Croco's on our grubs. But it's really nice for AL to cover red side jungle while this is going on. Hope doesn't even miss a thing.
Yeah, the communication looking really good. The ideas are there. And hell, me and you talked very briefly earlier on before the series. And one thing I said is I feel like AL kind of plays... they don't exactly play to the level of their opponent, but AL have definitely looked better anytime they're playing mid or top table teams. I don't know what it is. It still will be a bit messy, I assume, later on when we do see some of the potential mid and late game decision-making mistakes bear its head. But it has been weird how much more consistent AL have been anytime they're facing someone around them or above them in the standings.
True. And again, when you face they're one of those kryptonite teams where like they face people below them and you wonder how they lost. You face people above them and they step up. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and you can see the talent on this lineup, which is why it's like, all right, I can understand how AL are a 7-6 team and they're going to be in the playoffs. They've looked really good, but it's those moments of inconsistency that are always scary. Luckily, we haven't really seen them yet so far. Even going to be able to pick up this second Drake. They're starting to have even more items come online with Kraken Slayer, Sunfire, hell, Knight's Vow. Everyone on the AL picking something up at the shop.
This Dragon goes down. Those items going to matter because it's fight o'clock. JDG coming in from a flank, teleport in from AL as well. It's double Dragon for AL, so they've already got what they came for as Missing's pop the ulti. JDG are low here, and all 5 members of AL are running in. Anyone's legend. A great engage, just set up the dive comp working perfectly. Now back to their turret. JDG scatter. Ruler does no damage. And again, JDG keep losing out.
And that I'm surprised that JDG even opted in for the fight. That's why we were going down the shopping list right now. I mean, even just in terms of stats, right? I feel like AL were favored going to that fight. Ruler only sitting on the Noon Quiver. Kanavi hasn't finished off his Sundered Sky just yet. And play just completely goes in the way of AL. At least Sheer going to be able to get some more plates.
But I mean, look, AL also denied grubs 4 for Kanavi. The plays are setting up the 280 carries, the 2 damage sources that you want the kills on for AL to have all the resources. Kanavi, very cheeky, gets away in the end, but Kael now roaming up towards his top side. We'll talk about it in a second because after the replay, you'll see why AL are so damn strong now.
You can see JDG wanting to go for a pinch, thinking they've locked them in. They do have numbers advantage to start this one off because Shanks still isn't here, but Missing locks him down. No one's close enough to get in range to any damage, and they quickly realize, hey, these guys have completed items. They deal a lot more damage than we do. Having to run off the back and the flash is going to seal the deal with Shanks going forward. So, yeah, it's not even down to execution. I even think the idea a little bit flawed by JDG. They thought they had numbers, but Missing was so much further than the other 3. There was no hope for a pick.
I think more games like this is what this split, like, for me, watching JDG as an external viewer has kind of been about, like, yes, they're still one of the top teams, but I've seen a few games like this so far. Now, as we walk towards this lyric, I have to admit, you know, I'm not sure if my internet's cutting out a little bit. In Berlin, I need to complain, I need to get off my chest. Internet here is trash. Absolute trash. Dude, in Australia, I thought it was bad. Like, I remember LPL splits, like, it cut out and stuff. But, you know, when I paid for the big buckaroonies, the big 1 gigabit, it was good. But Berlin is like a version of Sydney. It's just worse. You know? It's just a messier version with worse internet.
You know, I'm glad to know that this can still function as a diary for you. You know, get all the things about Berlin off your chest, come back. Remember the good old times. The fun League of Legends. Missing goes in.
Like this? Oh, this is fun. Okay. Nature's Grasp is going to set up that fun trade as well. Missing ultis to get out of it. Sheer's flank is good, question mark. There's a quickness that stops him. No, Kanavi jumps in for a kick flash, doesn't get it. He's all over the place. And Sheer never actually flanks. Gets flashed on. What are JDG doing is the question you all have, and I can tell you they're just getting smashed in the face by AL's keyboards.
Yeah, AL doing what they did last series. The game one glow up. Everything looking great so far. They're going to be able to get the Herald off this. Can even turn to potentially punish Yagao if he gets a bit aggressive.
Well, be careful, Yagao. Everything has just gone pear-shaped. Every time it is touched by anyone in JDG. It's only a 1K gold lead, but look again how this game feels like it's running out of control all around this Herald.
Yeah, they try and go for the engage onto the Rakan, but quickly realize they need to back off, pay respect to the Kael. And I feel like in terms of what JDG's comp wants to do, when AL can just funnel into a choke point like this, JDG's comp doesn't really punish them being in choke points, right? No huge AoE, and it also doesn't allow anyone else to follow up and gives AL the room to kite back. So it was pretty much the perfect position for how AL's comp would like to fight against JDG.
And you know the problem is as well, Missing is getting chunked out at the start of these fights consistently.
Yeah.
And with what the most reliable engage tool for JDG just taken out, then everything that follows after for JDG just feels a little bit hopeless. So again, 1K gold lead. It's 2 dragons though. It's a Herald now on the back end for AL. Next dragon's coming up in 35 seconds. And it feels like they got so many options. They got a lot of standing gold, 3 outer turrets as well for this Herald to give them priority. And it looks like they're not even going to be contesting dragon. They're like, hey, we're just going to try and make a run for inner topside and get that gold advantage finally.
I mean, look at their vision line in JDG's topside jungle. It's absolutely perfect. They know everything that's going on right now with Yagao and Missing making their way up. So far things being pretty methodical for AL.
Croco ran it into a wall or what? There's no way. There's no way. What is Croco doing? Aim it, bro. Oh my God. Missing gets it. If he dies off this, there's going to be the most AL thing I've seen today. All right, it turns into a full fight. The engage tool dead again, so it is a 1-for-1, but no jungler. Will it make a difference as Sheer slices and dices out of there thanks to the Herald he gets out. Shelly very confused. Jungler for support, and Croco just killed himself.
You know, I want to... Oh my God. The LPL observers always got to give you the juice. They always got to let you know exactly. You know, I want to believe after that it's like if you have a pet when it does something wrong, you know, it might like put its head like underneath its paws or go in a corner or something. Croco was so embarrassed by that. He just accepted his fate. He just let Missing come into it.
But then he did it again.
Ooh.
He didn't learn his lesson. He did it again.
Yagao?
What we set up?
Flank? Oh, not really a flank.
Sonic Wave, though, might turn into a kick again. Kanavi doesn't get it with the ward hop, and now he's just in the middle of no man's land. Kick comes out, and Croco's over the wall, so JDG, it looks like it could be jungler for jungler with the trade on Croco again, but 4 versus 5 in the fight. Ruler starts it off, but she's just dead again, or rather first time, but you know what I mean. He almost died the last trade, and JDG with a numbers disadvantage. 3rd dragon goes over, and even though it's messy, I mean, AL are still getting these trades.
Yeah, and even though it's messy, I still feel like we've consistently seen AL try to push the game forward, right? They're invading enemy jungle, they're getting vision, they're looking to push wave. Sure, are they making mistakes off of that? Yes, but in my mind, it's better to see that a team understands how to close the game, right? How to get more gold, how to snowball.
Especially against JDG when I think, they're one of the best mid-game teams in the world. Is that fair to say? I'm not sure if that still holds up. You could deliberate that in a second because this was, again, another messy play from both Kanavi and JDG.
Yeah, tries to get it. Doesn't exactly find the kick that he was hoping for. And just gives even more space for AL to be able to find the engage. At this point, Croco's already pretty tanky, where you see he doesn't go down right away and gives the time and space for people to be able to follow in. God. We're not stopping either. Looks like JDG want to go for more, and AL are here to challenge.
This is why I decided to drop that, you know, that cheeky argument bomb. Because for JDG, their ability to adapt has always been something that's impressed us. But right now, AL feels like they're the ones who are adapting better. It's an ulti that locks down Missing, but now it's an ulti down for Croco. Flash in from Yagao, the charm as well. Orbital Deception starts the damage as Sheer. Almost has that flash available. They also get the turret on the top side with that TP as well. So JDG, a bit of gold back as AL looking for a pick, but Kael looking for that mobile. Jungler ain't going to be it. Now Missing the tank who does have his ulti available, gets an engage in the pit, is absorbing, but JDG aren't jumping in. They're like, hang on, should we? No, you shouldn't. Missing drops again.
Yeah, Missing's been having a rough game this time around. I mean, you were pointing out earlier, right, how he was consistently getting chunked before fights start. And a lot of time, it's because he was starting off an engage or going for the combo before anyone was really in any distance to deal true damage. As Kanavi should be fine.
Should be. Yagao's coming in just in case, but he doesn't really have anything available. And AL, it's all about this siege in the top side using the power of Shanks, while JDG playing on the defensive and takes some dangerous hex gates. And look, Missing's alive again. All right, well, let's get the party started, he says.
What time stamp do you think, Missing's next death comes?
It's going to come at 22:11. All right.
You're
I say that? What,
no, go on.
ambitious?
I was going to say you're a
ambitious
bit more... What would even be the word? A bit more... You know what? You don't believe in Missing. That's what you don't do. And I don't respect it. That's what I was trying to say when I was thinking of a word. But you know what? We're paid to think of words, and it didn't happen. JDG Missing's next death is going to come at 24:32. Mark my words.
I will indeed. In 2 minutes' time, by the way, with Dragon, I'm trying to think that's 23. So you're thinking it's going to come 24:42.
Actually, it doesn't make sense. You're right.
Yeah, it
actually,
doesn't. He's going to run it. Maybe I'm going to get closer.
I think you are, AL, looking to go for this. Kael gets engaged on.
TP's coming in as well. Nature's Grass zones out. Yagao has jumped off, though. He has no hope in the world. Spirit Rush, they turn for the Baron. JDG in front of it. Kanavi looking for the steal. Flashes out. Can't get it. A Sonic Wave steal would have been massive. But now Sheer just shows us that this game continues on. By the way, Missing died. We were both wrong. And Ruler, as he runs through the hills, he's got the Baron. He's the only one with it. They'll run away with it. But this game is just a bloody flip-flop.
Yeah, it's AL definitely going to be kicking themselves at losing the Baron to a Renekton. They at least still find all the kills. They're going to be able to push and get some more gold off the back of this. But a very messy fight coming out from both sides.
God, dude, every time, like, it starts so nicely. Yagao gets nuked here and gives more kills over the carries, but it just keeps flipping over after that.
Yeah, and you can see forcing the Rakan back in the pit, but Yagao, by his lonesome, gives an easy engage for AL to be able to take him down. This is where things should look to be decent, but they all end up running away from the pit, Missing, doing a beautiful job. They're preventing Croco from being able to come any closer to the Baron, and then Sheer gonna finish that off. I don't know if it was with just a normal auto or a W, but obviously
it's a W
right after. Oh, yeah. God. Huge. Ruler gonna be the only one that has this.
Man, at least Baron's there. I mean, JDG still stagnate the game, but this Dragon's gonna be Dragon Soul, a Hex Tech Soul. For a comp that dives in, it means that slowdown is gonna be a pain to deal with. As we now set ourselves up, it feels like we need to note that JDG need a miracle here.
And they're hoping for it. It's Kanavi who's going to be the one to look for it.
Oh my god, in, doesn't find it. Smite goes down, Hextech Soul acquired, Missing with the setup and the engage. Kanavi gets kicked around by Hery this time as Hope's already taken down Sheer. Ruler gets a good root though. Kael jumps on in, but there's not enough damage at this point. Kanavi's just trying to find a pick in the back and find anything, but even Ruler can't deal with them. And AL cleaned this fight up yet again. It was always their game. It was just a little bit yakety sacks in between, as now with the soul, now with the gold lead and everyone's dead, this base is going to be in tatters.
Yeah, I mean, with the lead AL found early, it just felt so hard for JDG's comp to find a way back into the game without being able to get some picks or AL making some mistakes. That didn't happen. They've been a menace in these fights.
Oh my god, I mean, I can't believe. Again, JDG in this game have been messy, but props to AL. Props given, even some of the plays being a bit hilarious and making fun. It's a big win. It's a huge opening game here to the series. When they need it most, as Missing is going to die for his 6th or 7th time. Make it 7. We are saluting him as AL open up with a bear next to JG with 4. Good knock-up, good setup, and another kill getting set up for Kanavi as well. Look at the damage from Shanks as well as Hope. These 80 carries popping off 9-0, 10, 8-0, 9. And they are just piling on the stacks as they sweep through JDG in 24 minutes.
Shanks ruining his KD8 at the very end there. He's going to regret that. He's going to regret the stats being hit, but what a game from AL. So I want to know, what's are they still grounded? Are they still punished? Do they get a reward now?
No, but the problem is they weren't grounded after game 1 versus RNG. This team was going to get a reward. I was hearing up the lollipops, everything. But then game 2, game 3, man, I took the candy away. I can't believe I just said candy. I took the lollies away. And then they went in the corner. So just because they beat JDG in game 1, it doesn't mean anything. It's an uphill battle as we go to a break. So I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm worried because JDG, you know, they're still a very good team.
Cut this guy off. We go to break. We'll be back. More games. You'll find out if